Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Gamma Ray podcast. I'm Tim A alongside Tim B.
What's up?
And I got Justin with me too.
How's it going, everybody?
All right, everybody. And this week, we're kind of getting away from the last week's episode quite a bit, where we did true crime. Now we're talking about ancient cultures with the Sumerians, and these guys are pretty awesome, man. Like I didn't. There's a lot of in here I didn't know, a lot of stuff I didn't want to know, and then there's some shit in between there.
Yeah, these guys were actually pretty fun to look into, man.
Ain't that what Conan was?
Yeah, he was a Sumerian.
Was
Yeah,
it?
yeah, he sure
spelled-
was.
I gotta
spelled
go back
different,
and watch
but-
those.
Yeah, it was spelled different, but yeah, he was a Sumerian.
Yeah. Well, they all had, like East German accents in Sumeria.
Yeah.
It was a pretty common thing. Kind of like now when you watch like any like those like gladiator movies and stuff, like everybody is like some
British.
Australian or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. A lot of them have
Like a
like
proper
British
Australian.
accents.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Why do they sound like that? I don't think that's how they sound.
That's because
They more sounded like this. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
that's because Hollywood decided that ancient people all sounded British.
Yeah.
It has that air of
Well,
antiquity to it.
Well, it's like think about like Thor. He doesn't sound Nordic.
No,
No,
No, he's fucking. What is he? What is he from?
I think he's
New Zealand?
Australian.
yeah, he's
actually.
Australian.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
No.
Anyways, way off topic. So, like, I know that a lot of folks have probably heard of the Sumerians before. It's a pretty, well-known civilization. You know what I mean? From
Yeah.
way back. I mean, there's a lot, man. There's so much. It's going to be almost impossible to cover it all because we're going to do this in a couple parts.
Oh,
So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And just what we've looked into.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much more that we haven't even touched on.
Yeah. It's like
When it comes to
paraphrasing. Multiple
Yeah.
episodes will be almost like paraphrasing it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so much shit on here. And I mean, the Sumerians lived, in an area called Mesopotamia, right? And they lived there between the 27th and 20th century BCE, so a good while.
Oh, yeah.
right? And they came from a place called Sumer, hence Sumerian. I'm thinking, I'm
Which is
connecting the
also
dots.
they got that name from the Akkadians. It's what
Sumer.
No, Sumerians, because they didn't speak like a certain part of a language or something, and they got
it was
coined
like
Sumerians.
non-Semitic
Yeah.
language they spoke, so that's the name they got.
Boy, man, they got dangerously close because non is pretty synonymous with anti. So that was pretty close. Dodged the bullet with that one. You can never be too careful. So like Mesopotamia, like more commonly known now, is like it encompasses a bunch of different parts of countries like Iran, Iraq, and Syria. That's pretty much where most of that was.
Yep.
Right in that ballpark.
Basically in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, in the Middle East.
Yeah.
It's the middle fucking East. You know what I mean? They had the Tigris and the Euphrates were real close, so like most places they built it near water,
Yeah, of course.
and the writing is not like the oldest form ever discovered of writing, but it is the oldest like linguistic language ever discovered where like everything had a definition.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like they had thousands and thousands of words.
It was a legit written language.
Right.
It wasn't
It was one of the first.
pictographs.
Right.
I think is what they're called.
Yeah. It was a
Yeah.
bunch of like, if I'm like remembering, it's like a bunch of like,
Like scratches.
like if you're in jail and you're doing like the 1, 2, 3, 4, and you put the line through.
You know what
it
it kinda
you're
reminded me of,
counting
dude,
you're like counting
is
the days.
the, The Predator.
Yeah, yes, like predator
Yes.
language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
very
can
good.
see that, man, for sure. Because of
Wow,
that, a lot of
dude.
lines, a lot of triangles.
I can't
Yeah.
believe I didn't see that,
Yeah.
You're not
Now
a
that's
true Arnold
amazing, man.
Schwarzenegger fan, man.
bro. Do you know how many times I've watched Predator?
Twice.
At least.
And don't you know he has a shirt that he goes to the gym in?
Yeah.
What's it say?
Come with me if you want to lift.
Come, yeah.
I don't
That-
care if I saw Arnold walking around with that shirt. I'm following him.
He
Like,
does wear that shirt.
I know.
What do you think?
I've
I got
seen
the
him.
idea to get it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I saw him wearing that shirt, like I'm coming with you, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, I don't even work out, but I'm still gonna go.
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm gonna go work out with you. I don't-
Whatever it is, he's gonna get me out of some shit. All right. So the language is called cuneiform, and it first showed up around the year like 3100 BCE. So pretty fucking long time ago. Was that 5,100 years?
Yes, yeah.
Give or take. I mean, this is a pretty long time. And the primary style of writing, of that time was cuneiform. And, it like was for the next 1,000 years, it dominated. Everybody used it.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah, in the whole, well, at least
I mean, for a written language, you know what I mean? I mean, nowadays it doesn't seem like a long time.
Well, think about it this way too.
What?
Like even like the way I think of it is that like even like the English language is changing. You know what I mean? Like with like text messaging and shit.
Yeah,
Now, like everything's like an abbreviation.
I mean, even if you go back a couple hundred
memes
years with the English language,
yeah,
words meant we've lost words, gained words, words of their meanings have changed.
I mean, all words are made up.
Yeah, it's
At one
just
point,
sounds.
right?
What sound do you want me to make to identify this certain thing?
Right. And I'm still struggling with some of it. I got like almost 4 decades worth of practice, and I'm not doing good. Not doing good at all. And so like most of the writings were found on like clay tablets, and they depict like letters, like not just like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but like legitimate like letters written, like from one person to another. They have prayers on them, like their hymns, the shit they sing when they're in their, I guess, church, I guess is the way to say it.
I think it would be temple for these guys,
right? And then like stories from like their Sumerian culture, like their works of fiction. You know what I mean? Essentially.
I mean, that must have sucked being a fucking mailman back then.
Dude,
you know
how heavy his bag
must have been? Tablets.
Yeah, dude, it must have been heavy as fuck.
Like, yo, what the fuck, dude?
Good lord.
Can I get a chariot or something? Like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Well, I think that's where the term "going postal" came from. Was back then because they were just so fucking upset about it.
They must have been like fucking jacked.
They couldn't take it anymore, man. Yeah, well, that's why they all became barbarians, and they just pushed a circle like in the middle of a desert for no fucking reason.
Yeah, just round and around and
for years and years and years for no actual reason. So, like one of the most like well-known stories of the Sumerian is the Epic of Gilgamesh, right?
Yeah,
it's a pretty large one.
Big dude, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty large story, and it's the story of Gilgamesh, right? And it's over 3,000 lines long, and it's considered a fucking poem, right? So, like, try that out on your next date. When you want to like, press a chick, tell her poem.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna go up to my wife and be like, baby, I'm gonna read you a poem.
You might want to sit down for this.
Yeah, sit down, grab some popcorn. Have you gone to the bathroom yet?
We're gonna be here a while.
This is a 4-hour poem.
It's gonna take me a long
3,000 fucking gems to drop on
you. Yeah, it's gonna take me a really fucking long time to tell you. And so, like, Gilgamesh was a demigod, kind of like figure that had strength. He was like super, super strong, comparable like Hercules, right? If we're going to use a comparison.
Which is,
fight giant lions.
Archaeologists kind of think that's where at least Gilgamesh was like the archetype for Hercules for the Greeks.
I mean, if you look at where they are on a map, right? Like where that area was, I mean, they're right on the fucking Mediterranean. I mean, it's like real fucking close.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be hard for that story to travel.
No, man, they're right there. They're on the Tigris and Euphrates, which leads into the Mediterranean. I'm guessing. I'm making that up.
Yeah, the Sumerians would travel a lot, though, too. Like, they went everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so at least
it's gonna spread.
Yeah,
that story's gonna spread. I mean, so like Gilgamesh was like this really yoked up dude, you know what I mean, with a fucking killer beard. And he's fighting monsters and shit in the forest, and he's on a quest to discover the secrets for eternal life.
Wait,
suicidal people?
Yeah,
yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, see,
if I had to pick a group, I guess it would be them.
See, too, in that poem, he had something kind of like Hercules' feats. He had to come too.
Oh, there was like kind
of like the Trials of Hercules.
Yeah. It was almost like that, but not quite. The idea was there for it,
Well, yeah, you can't do it word for word, or you straight up just stole it. So you got to change a little bit here and there.
Yeah. I don't think the ancient people really gave a flying fuck about plagiarism.
Yeah, no, probably not.
I don't know, man.
But if you want to make the story your own, like.
Yeah.
You gotta switch it up.
So like a lot of scholars believe though now that Gilgamesh was an actual king, right? Because they did find this thing called the King's List, which is literally like a chronological order of all the kings that ever lived, that ever ruled. You know what I mean? Like they were meticulous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they kept really good records.
Yeah, so they're fucking nerds. It's a civilization.
The funny thing, dude. The funny thing is that some of their kings, like the earlier kings, especially, ruled like stupidly long, like hundreds of years.
The kings ruled for hundreds of years.
Yeah, it's like in their order.
See, like I was on board until
no, not the lineage. Like
the actual guy.
Part to do with their myths and their legends.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't know when they started the king list per se. Like they don't know the exact year.
It doesn't really matter because there's no way that the kings are living for hundreds of years. So it doesn't.
No, it's part of their.
It's like a made
mythology.
No,
the king's list is real.
Right.
It's just the original. Like some of the earlier kings were like Noah, 800 years old kind of thing going on.
Oh, okay. Like Queen Elizabeth. How old was she, dude? Like fucking,
I don't know, like 4,000 years old.
Dude, she was super fucking old, man.
Yeah. Old enough to make you realize, wait a minute, there's actually a king of England. Like I thought they gave up on that in 1745 when she took power.
Yeah. Boy, did that American Revolution really fucking stick in her craw, man.
Kind of made her age a little bit.
Oh my goodness. So, like, due to the great deeds, though, like of Gilgamesh, right? Like in the eyes of the people, like he restored this temple and the story to the goddess Ninhil. And like this kind of stuff, like that he did, like he was a good dude. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like a tyrant or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, that's where a lot of the of the creation of his myths came from, was like the good shit that he did in real life over time transform into like giant mythical stories.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, considering a lot of tyrant, man, back then they were all fucking tyrants.
Yeah, but in Sumerian, like everything I was looking,
it's a little different over there. It was a little different over there.
Most, if not like all of their kings weren't like tyrants,
like the Caesars and shit, you know.
Yeah, they weren't, because they had, you know, city states. It wasn't one dude who ran all of Sumeria.
Right, they had like governors essentially and shit like that, and they all
it was more like ancient Greece. You know how you have Sparta and Athens, stuff like that, and one king ruled Sparta, one king ruled Athens. There wasn't a centralized government.
Okay, all right.
Because, you know, like archaeologically speaking, scientists actually think they found, or I guess discovered, the oldest city in Mesopotamia, which is a place called Uruk.
Why did they make it so hard to say?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Uruk.
I mean, it just sounds like a noise you make. Like if you like when you like smash your fucking knee on something, like
that's when you're trying not to swear because your kids in the room.
Yeah, and you get like the pins and needles like shooting through whatever you just fucking hit, you know.
Well, that's actually the city where Gilgamesh ruled.
Oh, it was Uruk. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
But you know, according to the Sumerian legends, though, in their legends, the oldest city is this place called Eridu.
Okay.
And Eridu was ruled over by their ancient god of water and wisdom. This dude named Enki.
See, that's a cool name. I like Enki.
Yeah. I kind of like it, actually.
I mean, I guess
I'm gonna buy a pet, name it Enki, neglect it, and then have to give it away to somebody else. But just so I can name something Enki.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
I mean, I guess, you know, being the god of water, when you're, you know, you need a god of water living in the fucking desert.
Yeah, that's probably the best one to have.
Yeah, water and wisdom. Well, the wise thing would be fucking move.
Right.
No, dude, but actually, like,
you're so close to like right in the middle of the Mediterranean, was like beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the water's
water,
warm.
fresh, you know, all the food you can want, all the
everything's green.
Yeah,
fucking olives for days. Yeah.
But no, let's fucking build a city in the middle of the fucking desert.
Well, according to like Sumerian legends, Enki was said to have raised Eridu from watery marshes and conceived the concept of kingship and order.
So
Okay,
okay.
They're the ones who kind of
Came up with like the hierarchy, essentially.
yeah.
They're the Sumerians are crediting Enki with all that.
With like creating government.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thanks for nothing, Enki.
Yeah, what a prick.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, you fucking prick. Now I gotta hump these fucking clay tablets everywhere.
Yeah. They're thinking about doing it on Sundays. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I don't get a day off.
Like, God damn, well, you know there's football on? What the fuck?
You see these stupid fucking socks they make me wear?
But besides like the idea of kings and rulers, right? The Sumerians are actually credited with a number of like great accomplishments that we still use like to this day.
Such as.
I'll get to that if you impatient bastard. They're responsible for
minds, man.
The invention of time as we know it, in terms of how we like keep track of time.
I'm liking these guys less and less now, the more that I'm like getting into it.
Well, the Sumerians government 40-hour weeks.
Yeah, the 40-hour work week. Those fucking assholes.
Like, yo, what the fuck, dude?
Fucking assholes, man. But they actually divided their days and nights in 12-hour periods.
Okay.
Their hours were broken down in 60 minutes, and their minutes were broken in 60 seconds.
You see, I find that surprising because I did not think that that construct of time was around that long.
No.
Like, I did not know that the Sumerians invented that.
That's a pretty fucking big deal, man.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you got to think about it. Like, it's like, it doesn't seem that big now because we do it forever. You know what I mean? We've been doing it forever. But if it's like 5,200 years ago that they came up with that, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and it had to be a pretty good salesman for everybody to buy into it.
Like the whole world did for the rest of history.
Yeah, we still do.
They all bought into it.
I mean, for us, we grew up with it. You know what I mean? It's all we know.
Yeah.
But like you said, and I agree, back then, 5,300 years ago, that's pretty impressive.
Even the ancient people, though, I mean, they knew, they understood the seasons and the months and the year,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just you existing. You're noticing it happening, So
they were able to plan things out, since these guys were really kind of hammering out some of the details on.
I mean, everything back then was kind of, it was all kind of phases of the stars, the moon, you know what I mean? Like the moon, like that's how they kind of did their crops and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, to break it down to like, to mere seconds is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But they also had like huge like strides in agriculture.
Right.
Agriculture, weaving, textiles, pottery, carpentry. I mean, they even had beer.
Yeah. So now we're talking.
Yeah.
Right. Like they started really.
They also invented the buffalo wings.
Little known fact. Buffalo wings been around.
They invented the salted pretzels that you get at the fucking bar. Nobody knows that that's fucking 5,000 years old, that idea.
But even the concept of gods living in temples came from them.
Right. So like one thing I do know too about like their agriculture stuff is that they were one of the first ones to come up with like canals.
Yeah, irrigation.
And irrigation, irrigation tunnels for flooding to like drain all the flooding out so the crops didn't get all fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
super,
these guys
super
were
smart stuff, man.
Yeah,
super smart stuff.
They were on top of a lot of stuff, man.
Right.
Like even like their like the size and shape of their temples, which are called ziggurats.
Yeah. Was
like that they even influenced the Egyptians in their development of the pyramids and even their beliefs in their gods.
Damn.
Ziggurat does kind of sound like the kid brother of like Juggernaut. You know what I mean? He's like not quite as powerful.
Zags.
Yeah.
He zigzags instead of runs in a straight line.
Yeah, his power is super tiny. Yeah, like we're supposed to do from a sniper. That's all he does. It's very disorienting.
I mean, it's pretty impressive, though. I mean, even back then, man, I guess, they had to figure out the whole irrigation thing and all that.
Yeah.
When you're living in the fucking desert, you get minimal water.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's super optimistic thinking too that it's going to flood in the fucking middle of the desert.
Yeah.
It's like one day.
Well, I mean, even like with
it's gonna flood. It's gonna flood, and I'm gonna show you all.
Well, no, it's like even with Egypt, they understood every year the Nile flooded at this time every single year.
Right.
So it wouldn't have taken them all that
like
long to figure out
monsoon seasons and shit.
It wouldn't have taken them all that long to figure out when these floods happened during the year.
I mean, so basically, they also came up with like the first version of the Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah,
basically. Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I mean, like even due to like infighting within these city states, right?
Mm-hmm.
They developed many like war techniques.
Okay.
Like there's some archaeologists who actually believe that they came up with the phalanx formation,
which is what Spartans were known. Spartans.
Yeah, I think that's where
it's
like the V shape attack.
Yeah,
where like it's almost like a
shield.
Yeah. Well, they're all like interlocked.
Yeah,
it's like there's no gaps, you know.
Yep. Yeah, there's no weaknesses in it.
Yeah, they're being accredited with that formation, and they even came up with like siege warfare.
Which now that when you think about it, you like when you look at where they are and look like how the fucking Spartans and all that shit fought, pretty similar.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't have been all that hard to believe that kind of information traveled outside of Samaria.
No, not when you're being attacked by it. And you're like, you know what? That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's start using that.
Write that down, man.
Instead of just swinging wildly.
That seemed to work. That move right there just whooped our ass. But
they are beating the ever loving shit out of us. Let's go ahead and.
Well, normally we would just throw thousands of people at them, and you know what I mean. But now,
and hope for the best.
Yeah,
it's worked for us for hundreds of years.
But actually, warfare, though, man, you know that's. I mean, if you're gonna conquer somebody, especially if they fucking kind of bunker down, that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
you know
just overwhelm
for sure.
Lock them in there. Don't let them get no supplies. Sooner or later, you're either gonna fucking,
starve to death,
or fucking dehydrate.
Yep, or surrender.
Yeah, or surrender or die.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, or fight to the death. I mean, that's their only other option at that point.
Right.
Like, dude, the only problem was with all this infighting between the city states.
Right.
It actually weakened them, and eventually this will cause their downfall because they were conquered by the Gutians, the Akkadians, and the Elamites.
Right.
They were being
over
time
they were like
conquered by them.
Right, like over time, not all at once, right?
No, like they had eventually that would cause their downfall. It's because they weren't centralized.
Well, yeah, instead of all banding together.
Right.
Essentially they'd let
each other, and neither one would help the other one.
Right.
Yeah, everyone was on their own.
I mean, that essentially, but when you get down like that, there's really no other way for your civilization to go but down.
Mm-mm. No, I mean that's the thing, man. It's like
it's a shame.
Yeah, I mean it's like it goes to show you, like even within the same culture, like, and no matter how advanced you are, people still hate you for really just because you're from a different place. Yeah. Like that's the only fucking reason.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, man. Aren't you from that city over the hill? Yeah, we don't like your folk here.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the way I feel about like Canadians. You know what I mean? Where I just don't really like Canadians very much, but most of them speak English.
Yeah. And most of them are I guess probably pretty cool, don't you know?
I find them very passive aggressive.
Yeah. The problem is I don't know a whole lot of
shitheads. You know what I mean?
I don't know a lot of boot.
We got free health. We got free healthcare.
Yeah, they think they're so much better than us.
And we got fucking hockey and shit. Like, no, good for you, motherfucker. Like nobody cares.
Like we got
ladies over there dipping their fries in mayonnaise and whatnot.
Yeah, they should just be shot for
it's
that.
Absolute sociopaths.
Yeah. What is wrong with you people, man? All that fucking syrup you drinking?
Well, they all their French fries are shaped like little hockey sticks, so it's just easier to scoop out.
Moving on from the Canadians.
I will never move on from the Canadians. Never.
Damn it.
I will hate them forever.
And with their kilometers and their millimeters.
Yeah.
Get with the rest of us. I think we're the only ones who don't use that shit.
No, there's like 4. I think there's like 4 total countries in the world who still use the imperial type of measurement.
Yeah.
Hey, seems to work for us. You know, because I'm always seeing shit like the English are saying the Americans will measure anything except in meters.
Yeah.
Like it's the length of 3 football fields or the width of 3 refrigerators.
Yeah. 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 We just use like inanimate objects.
Yeah, we're just like whatever.
For like units of measurement.
Yeah. Fucking 6 car lengths, man. Fuck you and your metric system.
That thing weighs as much as 7 Saint Bernards. You know what I mean? Okay. But you know, but fuck them. Because like I'm looking at, like I think about like English, you know, those limey fucks. And they're like, this guy weighs 27 stones.
Yeah, like that fucking makes no sense to me.
Like, how the fuck heavy is a stone?
Yeah, like
it depends on the stone.
Yeah.
So is it just like, I don't know, you fucking figure it out.
Yeah, I would think pounds would be a whole lot fucking easier.
Yeah, but their pounds are money.
Yeah.
So like that's also confusing.
And you know, and they got like a P is like change or some shit.
1 stone is 14 pounds.
1 stone is 14 pounds.
Yeah.
What are like a weird random number? 14.
It is. Yeah, it is.
See, I don't. It's not helping my hate.
No, because you think it'd be either 10, 15.
It's intensifying it.
Yeah, like it's just like where the fuck you get 14 from? Is that what the first stone you weighed?
I don't want anything that could be divided by 7. You know what I mean? Like just give me 5s and 0s and I'm
5s
good.
and 0, make it easy.
What the hell's going on?
But continue on the idea of advancement and innovation. The Sumerians never ceased to amaze. Like these fucking dudes were, dude,
they were hella smart.
Yeah, these people were so. Yeah. I mean, before we move on, just imagine if they didn't fight with all that in city fighting shit, where we could possibly be today, if they had all this stuff back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty like just advanced, dude, to say the least.
Yeah.
They were having ideas that no one in the history of the world have come up with yet.
Right. I mean, sure, there was like more advanced later, you know what I mean? But a lot of it was bit off of these guys.
Yeah.
You know, where I mean, it's like, yeah, it was old and it was kind of archaic, a lot of it, but the point is that they created it.
Yeah.
The foundations were laid.
Yeah. For the rest of us.
Basically, I was just going to say, basically for the rest of civilization.
Yeah.
The foundation was laid.
Right.
I mean, and, you know, and like, because it's the desert, you know, there was, like you would think there's a shortage of wood and stone.
Right.
So basically most of the homes are built sharing a wall with their neighbors. And you know, like in the desert, they use sun-dried bricks for most of the structure.
Right.
Yeah, think of like townhomes.
Think of like Tatooine.
Well, in terms of like their structure.
Right.
Those townhouses.
Be townhomes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Now, do you think they had to listen to their neighbors talk shit about them every night?
I don't know. Going through brick, I know it's pretty tough.
I would think that would be pretty hard to.
You think they had HOAs?
Dude, if the HOAs go all the way back to Sumerians.
They had them. I promise you somebody thought of it.
Yeah.
They definitely had like a Karen who ran around.
Yeah.
Your dead bush is all, you know.
Yeah.
It's too tall. You got to cut it back.
You said throw your feces out the side window, not into the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But leave your poor dead on the back porch, not your front porch.
Yeah.
Your bricks are only allowed to be like that rusty red color.
Yeah. Stop trying to paint them green. Okay.
Yeah. We're not trying to be fucking happy around here. We live in the middle of the desert. We want to stay miserable. But you know, but a lot of families, see, this is kind of like what's a little weird because you know they have a whole class structure and everything, but most families were poor. But there was no homeless.
No, every family had a home.
So I mean, that's something.
Yeah.
You know.
It's kind of like very like hippie thinking.
Yeah, almost commune like.
Yeah. Also communists.
I love the fact that you guys are like, oh, wait a minute, everybody had a home? Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
that's
now,
fucking communism. That's what that is.
What do you mean?
What are
You
you
get to
talking
have a
about?
home where you can put your head down.
Right.
and set up
Everybody gets
memories.
one.
The hell?
Mm.
I ain't gonna
so,
have that.
I mean, it must
Not
have been
my
dope to be
America.
homeless back then. You know, if you lived in another city state, you'd just be like, yo, I'm just gonna fucking roll over to here
Well, no, yeah.
and they're gonna build me my own fucking house.
Well, see, I mean, dude,
Yeah.
they had like jobs and everything too. So
Well,
it
yeah.
wasn't just like
yeah, you wasn't
you didn't
probably getting
have to
nothing for
be
free.
a farmer. You didn't have to be somebody who's
Right.
making pottery.
It was like a real civilization.
You got
where
paid.
There's a
yeah,
bunch of different shit
like
going
you
on.
went and became an apprentice somewhere and you got paid for your work.
Yeah, see, I was just gonna say, I'm sure there was like apprentices, you know what I mean, blacksmiths,
Yeah.
Yeah.
masons, whatever, you know. And
Yeah, it wasn't like later in life where like, oh, your father was a farmer. Guess what you are?
yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't like a
farmer,
cat. It wasn't like the caste
Yeah.
system.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, you
it's
could
not like
definitely
that.
move up
Because you
or
were
down
born into it is what you did.
in your
Right.
in the social hierarchy.
Right.
I mean, but you know, education was really important to them too, man. You know, 'cause
Yeah, like they created schools and
Well, yeah.
really pushed the
Mm.
agenda for schools.
I mean, that's, you know, that alone, just that the ruling class wanted the non-ruling class to be educated is impressive in itself.
Right.
Well, dude,
Yeah,
they
I
had
agree.
they had a saying.
That's
It
a
was-
rough. That's rough on power. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. If they're educated, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely
It's
rough.
it's
What
tougher
it was
to
was that
rule, yeah.
the educate like the people, like the teachers
Mhm.
and their parents would push these kids to do good in school because they were like, a man who could read and write can always get a good job.
Yeah,
That was their saying, was this is why you better do good, because if you can do all this stuff, you don't have to get that crap job somebody else is doing. You can, you know, get a good job where you get paid good money.
well, it's kind of like now. You know what I mean? If you're educated, you're gonna make better money.
Yeah.
You know, like if you grew up and your dad was a janitor, construction worker, or whatever, you know, they definitely wanted you to go to school to be educated to make the better money.
Right.
You know, and
It's very modern
you know,
thinking
in
now.
turn,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. You know, what I mean, it's almost like the way it is right now.
Yeah.
But they also shared their beliefs, you know, like their beliefs, teaching, and knowledge was paramount,
Oh yeah.
which, you know, which is true because it's for the continuation of the civilization,
Right.
which, you know, is 100% correct. Because if your population is uneducated, you know what I mean, sooner or later, you're looking at the fuck
Dark
is that
Ages.
movie?
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then that's where kind of the whole cast came from, because now the only educated ones were the elites,
Right.
the kings, the elites. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's probably why, you know, and education being so important, you know, I'm sure some, you know, a lot of people from that weren't part of the elite class came up with a lot of these ideas that helped advance their civilization along. Like the education, man, it was, you know, to build the young up on the knowledge that they all gained over time.
Right.
However, you know, this is where, you know, it kind of gets like, you know, most things back these days, only boys were allowed to go to school. And if they did not complete their work to perfection, they would be punished.
Right. I mean, we're gonna talk about the women in the next episode, but they had a pretty good too.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad.
I mean, I'm pretty sure some of them were able to be educated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of these, like the Sumerians, like, you know, they had plenty to eat,
Mhm.
plenty to drink, plenty of clothing, go around homes. So, like, their people lived a pretty, like, a halfway decent life.
Yeah. They also invented cornhole because of all the beer they had. Thank God.
Beer pong.
I love cornhole, man.
Yeah. dude, it's
Especially
like-
Really, I
couple
hate
brew-
that game.
Especially with a couple brews in me. Oh yeah.
I
See, I
can't stand
prefer-
that game.
It's horseshoes
I mean-
for assholes. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? That's what it
It's
is.
Horseshoe for douchebags.
Yeah, I remember playing horseshoes with my cousins back in the day, and just having to stop playing because they were just using me because they needed a fourth. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
absolutely sucked at that game.
I'd
Whoever
much
was on
rather
my
play
team
horseshoes.
hated it.
Lord.
But basically, man, if they didn't do good in school, I don't know. I don't know what the punishment was, but I'm sure they probably got their ass whooped.
Yeah.
They'd have one-on-one time with a priest in
I.
a dark room.
Yeah,
Mm.
one hit in the face and they're crying like an altar boy.
Mm. But what are they getting hit in the face with?
One ball in the face and you're crying like an altar boy.
Oh my goodness.
But basically, man, a lot of their houses, and I think this is kind of central for civilizations back then, was located close to the ziggurat, their place of worship.
Sure.
It makes
in order
sense.
for those to worship the Sumerian gods. Yeah, it's kind of centralized, like a downtown area kind of thing, I guess.
Right.
And but like most people did, like in any other culture, the Norse, whoever, they also had actually probably still to this day.
Right.
They had small shrines in their homes to various gods.
I don't think it's any different than walking to somebody's house and they have a crucifix on the wall.
Yeah.
You know
Well, because the city state would have a patron god, which would look over the city.
The city.
But then if you're a farmer and the patron god was the god of the, I don't know, war or something like that, you'd have a shrine in there to the god of agriculture, of farming, whatever.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or back then, probably the god of Enki or whatever, the god of water.
Water. Yeah.
Like, please give me water.
Yeah.
Or else that shit don't grow and we fucking starve.
Yeah. It's like, Enki, I just want to thank you for the monarchy you've created. The fact
I can't just get stabbed in the middle of the street
field with my bare hands.
Yeah. But dude, these guys were so advanced that they even had a form of ID called the Sumerian cylinder seal. And believe it or not, man, this thing was so popular, it remained in use for thousands of years until the fall of the Assyrian Empire. You're talking 612 BCE.
Damn.
Yeah, that's impressive, dude. Like to
long
have
time.
Yeah.
like ID back then, even.
Dude, you know how long you had to stand still for them to carve your picture into the ID? Holy fuck, man.
Imagine the line.
Yeah.
Dude, if you had to go to the DMV, it was like you need like 3 weeks off of work.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's time for that my 12-year update on my ID. So yeah, I'll be back in.
Well, it's made out of clay, so
2 to 6 months.
Dropped it and it just like shattered. Like fuck.
Yeah. Like, God damn, I gotta go sit for another fucking 36 hours. Think they needed ID for like beer and shit?
No, I think
I doubt it was
to wherever.
Yeah, I don't think anyone just
10 years old, fucking 8 years old. Yeah, fucking.
Hey, whatever, man.
Let them drink.
But yeah, just let them all get fucked up. Fuck it. And but they also improved on other inventions, man, like a wide range of technology.
Right.
And like this would include the wheel, geometry, arithmetic, things such as tools, sandals, harpoons, chariots.
Right.
And of course, what they're most well known for is uniform writing.
Right.
I mean, basically,
that's
man,
a pretty impressive
list.
Yeah.
And
And that's only like a small list too.
like, how did they improve on the wheel? Like, we made it round.
Yeah.
It was like,
how did they improve on that?
It must have been like an oval before. I don't know. Or
well,
a square.
before it was made out of stone, then they went, you know what? Get some of these mud bricks.
Yeah.
A little lighter.
Yeah.
I think
or
it probably
maybe
is,
they put the axle on it, or
probably is
Yeah.
more likely
shit like that.
transportation wise.
Yeah.
That's where they advanced on it.
Got it.
I mean,
Okay.
basically, dude, there's almost no area of civilization that the Sumerians did not either invent or improve on.
Yeah. I mean, it seems
which again is
that way for sure.
so impressive on its own.
Yeah.
And not to, and to consider the fact that this was not a centralized people.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like an organization or department or whatever overlooking any of this.
Yeah, they just kind of did it.
Yeah. You know, they saw the need for it or whatever, and they did something about it.
Right. Somebody came up with an idea. They're like, love it. And then they ran with it for 1,000 years.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But
I mean, that's what they did.
That's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah. They're like, you know what?
I mean,
like it.
You know, it seems to be, even though there, you know, like you said, there was a lot of city states. It seems like they all kind of had put a, you know, very big importance on being educated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look what it did, though.
Regardless of the infighting.
Well, because you couldn't
did,
be.
They were around for what? A couple thousand years. They came up with all this fucking cool shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seems like it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you couldn't move. Well, the problem, like with education too, you couldn't move up in their hierarchy if you were uneducated. If you couldn't read, you couldn't write. You could, you know, you were stuck doing the dreg work, kind of.
Right. Which,
because they did, because like we've been talking about this actually a couple times now, but they had a very interesting, like, social hierarchy.
Right.
That was fairly like progressive at the time.
Yeah. Well, you got to think at this time too, you know, it's just everything is very archaic. You know what I mean? It's a linear style of thinking, and to have somebody like this come around and be like, no, we're going to change everything.
Yeah, like
pretty incredible.
Yeah, we're just going to flip everything on its head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we've already said it. They had classes, you know, just like a lot of other cultures did at the time, and even after they were long gone.
Right.
And they, you know, they had distinct differences though compared to these other similar civilizations. You know, at the top they had the king or the priest, depending on the city state.
Right.
You know, the king had more power, the priests had more power, depending on how they saw their gods and whatnot at the time.
Right.
But the priests were they did believe that all forces of nature were essentially alive and had their own agenda.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
so like if they did get
crazy.
flooded, it was just like the water was just like, I know, you know, I fucking hate, you know, carrots.
I'm feeling bloated.
It's like flood your fucking field.
Yeah. It's like, you fucking dick. You pissed in my stream.
Right.
I destroy your mud
fucker.
house.
Yeah,
where else am I supposed to go?
Your fucking crops.
It's the only water around, man.
But yeah, their priests were also thought to be able to understand the will of their own. They had over 3,000 gods. That's
a lot of gods.
How do you keep track of that? Even if you're writing it down. You know,
that's fucking nuts.
And God forbid you misspelled one of their names. Now you gotta...
Yeah, because dude, these were wet clay lumps. They had to carve all this into, and then wait for it to dry.
Yeah,
you know, before they could start walking around with it.
Yeah. Jesus, man.
You let it dry for like 3 weeks and realize you made a typo.
Yeah, that would. Oh my god, bro,
that would piss me off. So.
You'd be like, "Fuck this job."
You're not hitting that quota, bud.
Yeah.
But you know, because they put so much emphasis on their priests because of their gods,
right?
Their priests almost had as much power as their kings, if not more.
I can see
they
that.
had more sway. You know, the gods, you know, they came out, the gods aren't happy with us because so and so.
Right. And the king kind of, I'm sure the king deferred to the priest. You know what I mean? It's a really good like deflection technique. You know what I mean? Like, well, it wasn't me. It must have been.
Yeah, the gods.
Yeah, the gods were mad at it.
We got 3,000 options. Pick one.
Yeah. We can't please all 3,000 of them. We're gonna piss somebody off.
Yeah, somebody's gonna get mad later. One's gonna get fucking mad.
There's only 365 days in a year. We can't have one for every god.
Our years are getting long as shit.
Yeah, we got a 3,000 day year, man.
But the upper class Sumerians, you know, they'd adorn like their gold, you know, gold jewelry. You know, their men would wear skirts and had long beards. Of course, I don't blame them. The beards part, the skirts, hot as shit out there. The beards probably wouldn't help that situation.
No, they sound
get
Irish.
Some nice airflow under there.
Yeah, they sound Irish. There's beer, there's skirts, and there's fucking
beards.
Long beards.
Fat dudes with beards. Yeah. It sounds super Irish.
But yeah, their women would braid their hair in these elaborate styles.
to kind of like stand out, essentially. Okay.
Yeah, to
I
make
mean, you
sure
kinda even
everyone
see that
knew
in,
they
like,
were upper
modern
class.
fantasy. Yeah, you even see that in modern fantasy, man, where like, the upper class, like their hair is always braided in these like insane, you know
Right.
what
They
I
wanted
mean?
to stand out,
Right.
Yeah.
so everyone knew, their
Their
role in
station,
society.
yeah.
Yeah, their station. There's the word. But their priests actually kind of went the opposite direction, and so you could tell them apart. They would shave their heads. So if you
Kind of
saw,
like monks.
yeah,
Yeah, kind of like the Shaolin monks and that.
Right.
yeah, until that one dude walks by with male pattern baldness, and everyone starts,
Worship them. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
He's like,
Then
man, I've just
Johnny
been
just
working out
runs
in the
with it.
fields all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got testosterone issues.
Yeah.
Whatever it calls bald. Isn't that what calls
I mean,
bald?
Ah, fuck, I don't know.
the
man.
bald thing, no, I mean, yeah, they definitely want to stand out.
Yeah, that's
This is
how
where it
they
comes to the
stood out,
class thing, that way people
Mhm.
don't mistake
because the
them.
priests were even above the upper class, so
Yeah.
they had money, they had wealth, they had to do something to stand apart.
Right.
But even,
Okay.
dude, I mean, even their lower class people led a pretty interesting life
Right.
because they were paid for the work, which is still kind of a newer idea for them at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where
And
you
now
just do it because that's what the city needed.
Exactly. Like you
Right.
got and, you could own a shop, you could work in the fields, you got paid and you were able to live a pretty decent life because of it.
So there wasn't
So,
like extreme poverty.
No,
Okay.
like even excuse me. Yeah, no, like they all were able, like if you didn't have any money as a consensual, you weren't working.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you were just a lazy fuck.
Yeah, pretty much. But because of the rules and like the way of life in Sumer, stealing was actually considered one of the worst crimes you could commit. Like
I mean, essentially
they took that shit seriously.
they're giving you everything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, yeah, plus in them ancient cultures, man, stealing was like a fucking big no.
Yeah, you can like kill
Oh,
people
dude.
and be fine.
Yeah.
Dude, like everyone had to pay for goods. The king himself, if he wanted a loaf of bread, he had to pay for it.
Good, he should.
Yes, I find that impressive.
Yeah, that's a pretty progressive, like I said, like progressive way of thinking, that there was no rule that stated like a lower class person could move up, like we've been talking.
Right.
So like even the king wasn't just going to walk around and be like, give me this.
Right.
That price was the same for the king as it was for the lower class and so on and so forth.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I think it's like, that whole acknowledgement of, it took somebody, who knows how long to either make that piece of pottery or
Right.
till those fields or,
Yep.
you know what I mean? It's like,
Right. It's almost
the
a sign
king's
of
like-
like respect to the people that do that work.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like even if the fucking king has to pay for shit.
yeah,
Like no, we respect.
Well, yeah,
everything
well,
that
it
you
shows
do.
that even the king's not above the laws.
Right.
yeah.
He's not just going to take shit.
And what's the point of being the king?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I guess you got to live in the cool place and have servants and
Yeah, they did have
like,
slaves.
yeah, they did.
They sure did.
What do you call it? Concubines.
Yeah.
They'd have a
All
harem.
right. All right. See, now you're piquing my interest, bud.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, you're getting them back on track here.
Maybe that's where that, that phrase is good to be king come from.
I think they came from
That's what Simba was talking about this whole time. That's why he couldn't wait. The
He's
concept.
like, dude, I can't wait to have
Yeah,
like
prime of-
14
yeah,
women.
Yeah, you had a pride of females, he's like, yo, it's good to be king.
Even when he was 8,
Yeah.
he's just dancing through the fucking. He knew what was coming.
Yeah.
But see, like we've been talking about though, these people were not locked into their class.
Right, which is super progressive.
100%. They
Yeah,
could
for
work
sure.
towards being upper class. They could work to they'd
It's-
want these people wanted their children to become educated so they could become priests or priestesses.
I mean,
priestesses.
it's similar to now. I mean, maybe maybe not the priest stuff, but essentially, like lower class people want their kids to go to school and get educated so they don't
Yep.
live like them.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can do better. And I'm
And by
gonna
the
give you
time
the
their
opportunity
kids,
to
his
do
kids,
so.
and their great grandkids,
Right.
they'll never know poverty
Mm-hmm.
or what it's like to struggle.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, it's pretty forward thinking.
Yeah, for sure.
With these kind of guys, man. I mean, like the cool thing about like Sumerians too is that like a lot of their stories are kind of, you know, essentially like that, you know, the game of telephone, you know what I mean, where it changes from one place to the other, you know. But like the shit with like Gilgamesh, you know what I mean, like the story of the Great Flood.
Yeah.
Comes from the Epic of Gilgamesh. You know what I mean? So it's like you
A
translate
lot
that
of actually, yeah,
into-
like a lot of the other religions, major events,
yeah.
like the Sumerians had in their legends.
Right. Yep. And Noah, that's
Yeah.
essentially the same story. You know what I
they
mean?
just
Like it was
kinda
a
swap
flood
out
that
names.
took over the whole world, and you know, I don't know if he built a boat or not, but seems like the logical thing to do if it's going to flood.
I mean, instead of changing the story, just change the name.
Yeah, but he built it out of rocks,
Yeah.
sun-dried rocks.
He was a demigod, so it
It didn't
matter.
flow very good.
Yeah. It's like, fucker sank soon as we fucking cast it.
You know how hard it is to get some of those animals in the desert, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just full of scorpions and like rattlesnakes. And
You got penguins
Coyotes.
running around going like, yo, this shit fucking sucks,
you got
man.
camels.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, the Sumerians, man, there's so much shit that they did. You know what I mean? They use them in a lot of pop culture stuff too. Like if Ghostbusters, Gozer was a Sumerian
With Sumerian
god.
Well, dude, was it even in Blade?
Oh, Lamagra.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Fuck, I'm embarrassed
what was
to
it
know
Blade
Deep in
Trinity?
Frost. There.
Was-
Oh, like Blade Trinity, like
Embarrassed together.
Dracula was like a Sumerian lord or some shit like
that.
that.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, they go back
Yeah.
because of
Drago.
how far back and how like widespread their influence was.
Right.
All you gotta say is Sumerians, and boom.
Yeah, it
Right.
takes
You
you
talk
straight
about
to
long
antiquity.
time ago.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think the coolest part about them is, you know, like a lot of their shit now, and we're going to talk about this in a later episode, but I wanted to mention it in briefing because I can't fucking stand not to, is that a lot of it is, you know, the ancient astronaut theory, extraterrestrials.
I think isn't Enki part of
Mother-
that?
Oh, yeah, he sure is, bud.
Yeah.
He's one of the Anunnaki. That's right.
Yeah, I know that. I know that's a big central part of the whole
Mhm.
ancient astronaut theory.
Yeah, fucking big time. That's where they got all this shit from. So we've been
Well,
giving
yeah,
them credit
it's
the whole
easy
time,
too,
and it's
you
really
know.
been fucking aliens. So
That's what Gilgamesh was. He
you can
wasn't
pretty
a
much
king.
dismiss this entire
When all else
episode.
fails, it's aliens.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us again this week. Definitely be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Game Array Podcast. YouTube videos are getting
YouTube.
up. Yep, slowly but surely they're
Yes.
getting uploaded.
You're starting to catch up to him.
It shit takes a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
It does take a long fucking time. But yeah, man, thanks for joining us. You know, we love you all. And next week will be Sumerians Part 2.
Yeah. See y'all later.
Have a good one.
Bye.